I said, baby, I am not the one to play with. Ain't the type to give up, I'm driven and motivated. I just want some recognition and some compensation. But this ain't about the money and it ain't about the fame. I got lightning in a bottle, I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out. Lightning in a bottle, I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out.
Yo, how you living, how you feeling, how you doing? First Source Fantasy, and we are back today with our Week 2 start sits, running backs today. If you want to see our records or standings per se for our Week 1 start sits, click up here. Previous videos up here. Just hovering right here.
You should click on the previous video if you clicked on this one, but I'll just spit it out. Brandon led the pack with a -1. That doesn't sound great, but trust me, it is. He had a stellar week, and then I was at a -6, and Ed was at a -9. Our point totals range from -2 to +2 per pick. There's more in-depth explanation about that on the first pick, but just to summarize it, you get a -2, a -1, a 0, a 1, or 2, and if you get hurt, you get a 0. So that's kind of going to push the numbers down a little bit, but it's fine. It is what it is.
Ease what it is. So today, running back start sits. 2 starts.
Hopefully a better week than last week. But, last week, week 1. Week 1's pretty fucking rough.
We're not going to have many big swings with the well, actually, I'm lying about that. You'll get to see the big swings later. But I will kick this off with
swings.
DAndre Swift as my initial first start of the week at the running back position. Playing against Green Bay. Their run defense isn't the best. That's not the key part of their defense. I'll say that. The game script, as you may have heard in the previous video, the quarterback's video, if you want to click on that again, it's probably going to be down in the description or some shit. The game script's going to be pretty bad for the Lions, I believe, but good for DAndre Swift because I think they're going to be behind and they're going to be passing the ball a lot. DAndre Swift obviously had that big touchdown drop last week, which if he would have got that would have put him 15-plus points in the week. That would have been amazing. People would have been trying to send you trades for him. He would have been a very hot commodity. And I think after this week, he's going to be another very hot commodity. I think his passing down role is pretty locked in. I don't think Kerryon Johnson's going to take much work from him. Adrian Peterson, obviously, just a running back. He's not a receiving back. I believe as time goes on, DAndre Swift will get that rushing down the work. But as for now, I think the receiving upside is there for him to be a start this week against the Green Bay Packers.
Now, would you suggest you had mentioned if he would have caught the touchdown, it would have put him on the map. A lot of people would have been reaching out to obtain him. Being that his public image is kind of, he lost the game for the Lions, would you suggest for people to go out and trade for him now while his image is low? And I
believe DAndre Swift is probably one of those running backs that's going to break onto the scene late in the season. It's going to be like a top running back at the end of the season, not like finals-wise, but like the last few weeks he's going to have some of those performances that really boost you in playoffs. And just his receiving ability, I've seen that play where he did drop the ball. He got he got off the line so easily. He got up in between the linebackers.
It was a really solid route. If you look at it, he just dropped the ball.
It was just concentration, nerves. It was his first game in the NFL. I'm not trying to
rookies. Jerry Jeudy had 2 drops and a fumble week 1. It's all good.
Exactly.
And TJ Hawkinson has been going through these drops like crazy. So the Lions won't make any changes.
I mean, you never know. Matt Patricia looks like a
that's true. They got AP back there. They might.
I don't know if AP's out there running that route. Also, I was going to say earlier, it feels like Kerryon has just had the doors shut on him.
I mean, he still has a knee brace on. That frightens me. Like a personal.
Is his knee hurt or is he just wearing it?
I mean, he's been wearing it since training camp, and he obviously been wearing it since he tore his meniscus last year, sprained his MCL or some shit. But regardless, it's very worrying. I think he had maybe 3 carries, maybe 3 touches, something like that last week.
Yeah, he wasn't really in the game a whole lot.
And a running back who just got signed took over for him. So, yeah. Don't like carry on.
Not looking good for carry on.
We can.
How about number 2 there, Ed?
Oh, I guess I'll just dive into my second one. All right.
Yeah, why not?
Taylor.
2 rookies.
Yeah, 2 rookies. I like these rookies this year, man. They're really good.
So do I.
Jonathan Taylor against Minnesota Vikings week 2. 6 targets. 6 targets. This man, okay. He had more targets than CEH on he had more targets than CEH. Less carries, obviously. He had 9 carries, but obviously with the Mac Achilles tear, he's going to get a lot more carries. He's going to be the prime running back, and he's going to probably get the most targets. I don't know about that, but he's going to get
Hines might still out-target him, but
yeah, that's valid.
at least they're involving him.
Exactly, yeah. They're involving him in the part of the game where everybody's been worried about with him, his receiving upside. Does he really have it? Does he really have it? He had 6 targets in his first game compared to his 9 carries. I'm sure he's probably going to get – like you've seen the upsides there with the 6 targets. So, obviously, a check-down friendliest quarterback, Phillip Rivers in the NFL. No competition for carries. Minnesota defense that allowed 150 yards to Green Bay last week. I think Jonathan Taylor is one of those running backs where, Brandon, you're lucky to have him. I think you got him in what, like the 3rd round, 4th round, something like that?
Yeah.
He is one of those running backs that I think will probably finish top 10 in the NFL this year in fantasy points.
Behind that offensive line, he's that I was worried because I was watching him. I have him in, I believe, 2 different leagues, and I was watching him. No carries, no touches, hasn't been on the field. Marlon Mack's looking like he's the guy, and Hines is the receiving back. Obviously, there's some worry. I was thinking, wow, JT just not gonna be given a shot. But
I kind of assumed that would happen in the first game,
but I didn't think to the extreme because it was going like I believe it was like almost the end of the second half. He didn't do anything at all, and I was thinking he's not even gonna like see a touch.
Yeah.
But and then he just comes out. I believe his first reception was pretty good catch. It was like over 20 yards. I know that.
Yeah.
But I like JT a lot.
A good start week 2 as well. But I guess we can move on from my running backs and take the wheel here.
You spin me or Brandon?
Brandon.
Who'd you okay. All right. So I've got the wheel. I'm going to hand it over to David Montgomery as my start. He's the Bears' starting running back. He's going to get the carries. I believe Cohen and him. Cohen did not touch the ball as much. I'm going to fact check myself at this moment.
I mean, Montgomery is the clear-cut number 1 rusher there. I don't really think you have to.
Yeah, so 13 attempts compared to 7. And, I mean, Cohen only had 2 targets, which is weird, and Montgomery had 3, so he even got more targets. And that last week, week 1 against the Lions, from the very start, it looked like the Lions were just
they were trailing
that
in that game too.
So David Montgomery with only 13 carries in a game where they were down since like halftime, I believe. Negative game script. He still touched the ball quite a bit, and I'm happy with that. And I think against the Giants, it's going to be a level playing field. I think both offenses should be able to score. I think Giants might have more of a difficult time making David Montgomery even more attractive.
Also, they just made Benny Snell look like Bo Jackson. So
yeah. So I think David Montgomery will have an opportunity, no matter if you think he's not very good or not. I think he's going to definitely outscore week 1. Probably get you a solid week, maybe in the range of like a 1 rating. I would say that's like 15, 16 points.
Yeah, I'd be happy with him. I feel like he's a solid RB2 this week.
Yeah.
Maybe RB1. Maybe he takes the plunge a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Gets you a solid 25 points, and then you can ship him off to somebody whose running backs all got injured in week 1.
Yeah, and
If anyone's repping that Bell-Mack combo, now is the time to pounce on the rest of their roster. Still feel bad for Marlon Mack. That man went the entire offseason with people telling him he was going to lose his job, only for his own leg to tell him that.
Yeah. That's a shame. On a
rough,
contract year, hate to
rough.
see it. So David Montgomery is my start for the running backs, and then I got Raheem Mostert.
It's the Jets, man. You're really picking on these New York teams.
Yeah, these New York teams, they aren't very good against the run. If I would have picked Mostert last week, that's an example of probably a 2 in our rankings, where he definitely outscored what was expected. And
but, 2 is a boom or a bust.
Solely based on
Mostert puts up a fat 2-pointer. That is a -2.
Yeah, that's a -2.
Doing this. You -2 and your +2 is a boom or bust. This is just better than win-loss rating. Yeah. Fight me.
I just wanted to highlight an example of how we're ranking real fast. But moving on, Raheem Mostert, not really much to say about it. I think this game is going to be beyond the Jets' capability of keeping up. Even with the 49ers not having Debo and George Kittle being injured, and I really think Kittle should sit out this game, just precautionary, because the Jets are not good. They can get the job done with literally Tevin Coleman, Mostert, and McKinnon, and they all 3 would be fine. And
the 49ers defense might be able to just win this game on their own.
Exactly. So I really think Mostert will get the carries and plenty of them because they're going to be ahead. So,
I mean, my only comment, I guess I could say, on the Jets defense is the fact that Zach Moss, I think, averaged like 1.2 yards against them last week, and Devin Singletary didn't average much yards per carry as well. So I'm not sure how good or bad their run defense is, or how it's supposed to be, the narrative is and whatnot. But
I keep saying the Jets defense is like mildly underrated.
Yeah, the run defense, I could say, is. Pass defense, if Josh Allen was actually an accurate quarterback and made some accurate passes last week, they would be called one of the worst pass defense in the NFL. But regardless,
he had a couple of rushing touchdowns, did he not?
Josh Allen?
Maybe one.
I think he had 1, maybe 2. That's right.
He had a few touchdowns. He had a solid game. Glad I didn't stay to sit him.
That's all my comments on the Jets defense and Mostert's ability, I guess you could say. Yeah. Kind of worried about it just a little bit, just from a running perspective. But if he gets one of those receptions where he literally just breaks it off, it's possible. That's Mostert do that. But yeah.
Alex, did you have any comments on Mostert? If not, move on to your starts.
All right, so I'm gonna go with I don't care that he burned me last week. I don't care. I'm going with Austin Eckler again. I'm just gonna keep doing it because I like the guy, and like he got a lot of carries last night, 19 or 20 carries or something like that. So like that's promising, especially for a guy who's like 5'9". They just need to remember that he's best in the passing game. I trust they'll remember that. Their offense put up a whopping 16 points in week 1, so maybe they'll realize that they should start using their good players in the ways that they're meant to be used. And David Johnson had a pretty solid game against Kansas City. And honestly, even if like they're getting blown out by Kansas City, which they very well might, I feel like Eckler will still be involved because he's such a great receiving back. So, okay, I'm starting him. I'm also starting Ronald Jones. He had a clear advantage in carries over the other cast-offs that reside in Tampa Bay. I'm not even going to more of them than I can count. I guess Bruce Arians was not lying when he said that he was the number 1 back. And I don't know if you watched Carolina try to stop Josh Jacobs, but they had a rough go of it. And Ronald Jones isn't exactly Josh Jacobs, but I'm still booking him for a solid game here. Take that 20-some carries, hopefully get on the board. Maybe they can get a dub. I don't really care if they win. They can lose by 40 for all I care. I just need Rojo to get in the end zone, and I think he will.
It's a valid observation. I think
that.
Rojo's pretty freaking good. Like on the carries that I've seen him, he seemed to have vision. He had the ability to just make a shift and get gone, but obviously didn't have much big plays. But against Carolina, I can see him having a pretty big game.
Yeah, I mean, like, he showed a lot of improvement from year 1 to year 2. So if he does the same thing again, you're talking about like Pro Bowl caliber back. But I guess we'll find out. Let's talk about some sits.
Speaking of Pro Bowl quality backs,
Who you putting on the bench?
I got a pretty bold. I'm often with these bold bench sits, but for my first running back,
I like it.
I'm gonna go Joe Mixon against Cleveland.
Oh.
The one positive I have for Joe Mixon, he's a workhorse. He gets the majority of the carries. He gets practically all of them. He had very limited receiving work last game, which was weird. Giovanni Bernard was getting all those targets and the receiving work. But last week, Cleveland held Baltimore, that offense. They held that backfield to 3.24 yards per carry, okay? Mark Ingram had 2.9 yards per carry. That's bad. Dobbins had 3.1. He's a rookie, so I'm not going to expect a ton out of him, but still, that Cleveland full front is pretty astounding in my eyes. Joe Mixon put up 3.6 yards per carry against the Chargers week 1. He didn't really have much receiving work, as I said, and the O-line is pretty questionable. So I'm not expecting much from him this week. Very, very scary to me to start him and expect much. As an RB2, I guess low on RB2, you can have those expectations. But as far as like 12-plus points, I don't know if I can see that in his outcomes this week.
Bold take.
Very bold.
Good reasoning. I like it.
Yeah.
Speaking of good,
about your other one.
This second one is also, I guess you can consider it bold. I don't really consider it bold, but some people believe Melvin Gordon is still God somehow. But Melvin Gordon is my second sit of the week against Pittsburgh, who obviously made Saquon Barkley look like a fool last week. I'm just gonna say this real quick.
I was gonna say, like, you ought to put this down just because it's funny.
FanDuel at halftime. They had a odds boost for Saquon Barkley to get over 9.5 yards. So he had to get 10 rushing yards on the game. And I said, oh, my God, it's Saquon Barkley. He's not getting single.
Yeah, he's going to get 10 rushing yards at least. It's fucking Saquon.
He had -4 or something like that at halftime. Very false. Yeah, all he had to do was 14 yards for me. He had 7 total rushing yards on the game. Seven rushing yards for Saquon Barkley. One of the arguably the most talented running backs in the NFL. And Melvin Gordon is nowhere near Saquon Barkley. So I would sit him with confidence this week. I really would. That's all I got to say about it. Saquon Barkley shitted the bed against Pittsburgh. Melvin Gordon's going to do the same exact thing. I don't care if Philip Lindsay's hurt or not. He is, supposedly. I don't know if he's going to play or not. No clue. Even if he does, if he doesn't play, Melvin Gordon better be on the sit list.
And you and I doubled up with that. I completely agree. Melvin Gordon is a sit this week. Without doubt in my mind.
No doubt. I'm glad I don't have any more, to be honest with you, because I would be if you needed to play him, that would be a very questionable week to do so. So please just take our advice. I'm going to get a +2 on this, hopefully. I'm stamping it right here. +2 Melvin Gordon as a sit this week. Brandon, you want to hop into your other running back that you have as a sit this week?
Malcolm Brown. So if you picked Malcolm Brown up off the waiver wire, I respect it. And, I haven't done it and not sure if I will in the future. But he looked like their guy, or at least the guy on the hot streak. And that's my problem, is I think that this team is doing exactly what they said. They're running by committee. And I think Malcolm Brown had the hot hand. And I think he's going to see, if you were to start Malcolm Brown, I don't agree with it, obviously, because I'm a sit. But any one of these running backs, Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown and
Darrell Henderson.
Henderson. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah.
I knew I was drawing a blank on that. Any one of them you have and you're trying to start, backtrack, don't start them. I know Alex felt differently. He actually felt like Malcolm Brown could be taken as a start.
He's going to Peyton Barber us. Peyton Barber got 2 1-yard touchdowns last week, and I can already see it. Malcolm Brown's going to have 6 of those somehow.
But Barber was one of how many running backs that have touched the ball, and it's going to be the same situation.
Which is Brown's going to be that guy. He got the goal.
There's no guarantee.
The thing is,
Brown
with this pick, you're not going to do good with him with yardage. You need him to score.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I think that is a solid. That's a fear. I don't ever like starting guys hoping this guy has to score. It's football. Not everybody scores.
Yeah. That's a betting game. That I do.
Akers scores those. However, I think he did get those goal line carries. So
5 of them. Well, 5 not goal line carries. Well, that was steep. 5 red zone carries compared to Cam Akers 1 and Darrell Henderson's 2. So
and last year, Malcolm Brown started off the year with 2 touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah,
disappeared off the face of the earth.
And then disappeared off the face of the earth. Exactly.
Sammy Watkins did. We'll get back to that. Anyway, Brandon, is that
that's all I had to say. I know week 1, you just have to sometimes temper your expectations. Malcolm Brown may have looked like the starter, but just wait another week, see what happens. If he goes off against the Eagles' defense, you might have some more confidence week 3 maybe starting him.
Maybe.
All right. For my sits, I already know this one's going to backfire on me. Now that I'm about to say it, he will score 2 touchdowns. But Todd Gurley, I'm doing it. Todd Gurley. We discussed this in the quarterback video that you should have already watched. That we think Matt Ryan is going to be throwing the ball a lot. That doesn't bode very well for Gurley, who's probably 4th or 5th in line at best to get those targets. I don't know how many targets he had week 1. I expect Hayden Hurst targets to slowly rise a little bit as the year goes on. I'm not nowhere near hopping off that bandwagon yet, but
me neither.
Yeah, Gurley has done some damage against Dallas in the past, but I think this is the year. This is the year they figure that out. No more of this shit. Their line is not as good as the Rams was back in the day. Gurley is slightly older with less knees version of himself.
Yeah.
Van Der Esch coming back. Hopefully their front seven can be a little more stout, and Falcons will go after them DBs, and Gurley can stay on the damn bench. Again, he will score twice. Booking it now. I would have switched him to a starter mid-video. Another guy I'm sitting. We're going to sit Adrian Peterson today because I've been hearing some talk. And I don't know if you two have ran into this, but I've heard a lot of people getting pretty horny over the guy.
I get that talk out of my ears.
Huh?
I said I get that talk out of my ears. I don't want to hear any of that.
I mean, I may have fueled the horniness partially on Twitter. I brought up the big facts. This man's fucking advanced metrics last year, they're beautiful. It shocked me. But
I mean, he seemingly has just stopped aging,
literally,
which is interesting. But hey, I mean, good for him. I hope he sticks around until he's 57. That would be great to see a 53-year-old Adrian Peterson taking a handoff from Dante Culpepper's son.
Yeah, that would be beautiful.
I couldn't think of a quarterback that played with him in Minnesota. I guess that Minnesota is not really known for their quarterbacks now, are they? But yeah, I'm sitting Peterson here. As we discussed earlier, I think Swift is going to get the receiving work. I'm not sure why they would use Peterson for that, and I think this is going to be a very pass-heavy game from them. And Green Bay has – I think their run defense can rebound. They've got some pieces in that front seven. They lost Blake Martinez, but it wasn't really that good to begin with. But yeah, St. Peterson, I don't think they're going to be running the ball a whole ton. I think kind of like with Brown, you're going to need a score for him. to be useful, but
Yeah.
now that I say that, he'll probably have 11 catches.
That is the Alex Karma. That is indeed the
We're
Alex.
sitting Peterson. We're sitting Peterson. No, I'm running the table this week. I don't give a shit.
I'm dropping Peterson.
Yeah, drop him. He is
Yeah.
cut.
I'll let someone else sit him.
Like this video is about to be cut. So I think that's it.
But before we do cut, make sure you guys do tune in the quarterbacks if you haven't yet. This is
Yeah.
the running backs video. Wide receiver is going to be next after this. Hopefully, probably the same day upload, maybe the next day. You never know. But as far as us, we're heading out. Like, comment, subscribe. First Choice Fantasy. Deuces.
Good night.
Later.
Even if it's not night.
Even if it's not night.